All right, here we have a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe about this week's Torah portion, which is Shalach. It was given in 1950. 1950. Interesting, 1950 it was given. Okay? Which this is actually before the Rebbe actually assumed the leadership of Chabad, but here it goes. In this week's Torah portion, the Parshat HaShavua, Mr. Parents talked about Hashem Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, Shalach et Amaraglim, he sent scouts, Laturas, to survey the land of Israel before the Jews went in. But and he commanded them, they wrote Imyesh based of him to come back with a report about two things. Number one, at the people that were living there, Chazak or Rofer, are they strong or weak? And number two, about the land. Hatova hi shmena, if the land is good, if it's fertile. The Boam Raglim, when the Jews came back from their 40 days, they surveyed the land of Israel. As Sipor, they talked about these two things. They did exactly what Moses said. And Nogela, or it's regarding the land, they said, Zavas Chalav, they said that the land is flowing milk and honey. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. They said the land is flowing milk and honey. They brought back these huge fruits to show everybody how productive the land was. Regarding the people, they said, Ki Aza Ama Yoshe Boris, but the people that live there are very strong. Harim Batsoros, there's big fortifications on the cities. Gedolosh Ma'od. And Takev immediately when they finished, Miyad Emil Bayas Kalev, Kalev stood up and he said, 1 second, quiet. Let me talk. But don't listen to them. That's what Kalev said. Bayas Kalev at the arm. Kalev shut them up. But don't listen to them. Certainly, we have to understand. What these scouts did, all they did was say what Moses said. Later on, afterwards, they said that they're too strong, we can't do it. But that wasn't, they just came back. Moses said, tell me about the people and tell me about the land. And that's what they did. They came back, they said the land is great, it's wonderful. And the people are very big and they're very strong, right? Which is the truth. And afterwards, that later on, then they said, but we can't conquer the people. But before they said we can't conquer them, Kalev ben Yefuna, he stood up. He was one of the 12 scouts. He and Yehoshua, they disagreed. They said, we can't. Kalev stood up and said, don't listen to what they have to say. Kalev, he said, only after Kalev told everyone to not listen to them, afterwards they said, we can't do it, they're too strong. Why did Kalev stand? What did Kalev sense that he knew that these other 10 scouts were up to no good? After all they did was what Moses said, and they came back and they said the truth. They didn't say anything negative. The answer is very simple. This tells us a lot about human nature, and especially about Judaism. The sin of these scouts was the mana, they changed the order of the answer. What Moses said. Moses said, first of all, tell me what the people are. Are the people strong or are they weak? One second. Oh, there it goes. Moses, first of all, said, tell me about the people. Are the people strong or the people weak? But and afterwards, just want to make this bigger. I'm sorry for all these delays over here. Here we go. And afterwards, first of all, tell me about the people, and then afterwards, tell me about the land and how it is. Is it fat or is it whatever? Okay, what's the big problem? So they changed the order. First of all, the scouts came back and they told the people about the land, and then they said about how big the people were. So I mean, they gave them the same information. And Moses said, no, 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 no. I want you first of all to tell us about the people, and afterwards tell the land. And as soon as they changed the order, they talked about the land first, and they just said the truth. The land is wonderful, beautiful, and the people are very big. Caleb jumped up and said, stop. He says that was the problem. Caleb understood what they were up to. In the beginning, if they would have talked about the people like Moses wanted, the people are very big. You have to fight against them. The war and the conquering the land, the davar hirviach v'davar harevach v'aschar. First of all, they came back. The scouts came back and said, "These are the rewards. Look at this. Look at these fruits. Look how fruitful the land is." They got the people to think about themselves first. This is what you're going to get. Go into the land of Israel. Look at these fruits. What a wonderful place it is to live. Well, everybody started thinking about themselves. And then afterwards they said, but you should know the people that are living there are very, very big. The main thing was supposed to be the conquering of the land. If these scouts would have come back and said, first of all, that the inhabitants are very strong and they're very big, so the Jewish people would have said, God can take care of those people. There's no problem. But they got the people. These scouts came back and got the people to think about themselves first, and not to think about God in relationship to God as the people that are there are nothing. God said to conquer them. Of course, He'll help us. But by getting the people to think about themselves, so He got everybody to. They got all the people to narrow their vision and their whole perspective on the world, that God was like number two. Not only that, they said that the people are strong before they were weak. Moses said, are the people strong or are they weak? That's what Moses wanted. First of all, Moses wanted that the scouts should come back and tell him about the people, how strong and powerful they were. The kibush, because taking over the land had to be in order. Almanas v'afal has to be in order, and even though that the people are very strong, God can take care of the strong people, and even more, because they went with total self-sacrifice to fight, as even though they were great, nevertheless, even the stronger people would be weak. Their answer was Techila. First of all, they told the Jewish people about the reward. Zvat chalav davash. Moses wanted them, first of all, to talk about the people. You're going to go in to fight the battle. And then they would think, there's just one thing that's involved over here. We have to conquer the land. That's all. We're conquering the land. God wants us to take over the land, but they didn't do that. The scouts came back, and first of all, they talked about the land. The land is very, very potent and wonderful. Everybody started thinking about themselves. And afterwards, they talked about the war. The people are very powerful. When Kalev saw, when he was one of the good scouts, right? He saw that the main thing is that they're talking to the people about the reward that they're going to get. And that they're going to start, now they're going to go into the land of Israel in order what they're going to get out of it. Miyad immediately he told them, don't listen to them. Kasher avoda, because if a person is serving God in order to receive some sort of a reward, going to heaven or whatever, machshavim cheshbonos, then all of a sudden you start to make calculations. Well, I'm going to go into the land of Israel. I'm going to get all these fruits. I'm going to get all the land. One second, is it worthwhile to fight against big giants just to get big fruits? Sha'avoda kala kedeis kadait. Then, if I'm going to get a reward, it's worth to make a little bit of an effort. But to make a big, hard effort, especially to risk my life, ad shalula litot, it could be that maybe it's really hard, and then it's impossible. I can't do it. Like the rabbi say, lo nuchalalo. That's what. Like not the rabbis. Like all the people said afterwards, we can't do it. So it was psychological. Kalev realized what was going on over here. That the other 10 scouts, they wanted to convince the people not to go in. So what did they do? They got the people to think about themselves first. As soon as you start thinking about yourself, then you become number one. And if so, you start making calculations. Is it worthwhile? Is it not worthwhile? If you do the way that Moses said, first of all, think about how powerful the people are. And you'll think to yourself, those people are nothing compared to God. God can certainly take care of those people. What about me? I don't know. God, for some reason, God told me I have to go in, but I'll do it. Right? God do it on his own. So he doesn't want to do it on his own. He wants to do it through me, no problem. But as soon as they got the people to start thinking about themselves, and you're going to get big rewards, so all of a sudden, all of the how do you say the inventory changed around. People started thinking, oh yeah, what am I going to get out of it? Was it worthwhile the investment to risk my life just to get fruits? As the truth that there's a, and in fact, that's what happened. The people started thinking about themselves, and as soon as they did, they said, we don't want to go in the land of Israel. They forgot that that's what God wanted. They just thought the main thing is what they're going to get out of it. There's a representative of Moses in every generation. But Dorino in our generation is the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Asher b'shanim Eser, the B'chodesh Tammuz, that in the I'm sorry, Asher b'shneim Eser b'chodesh Tammuz, that in the 12th day of the month of Tammuz, that's next coming month, Shayom hu Shabbos Mavorchim Chodesh Tammuz, that this is going by us is going to be not this week but next week. This is the last week of the month of Sivan, the month that blesses the month of Tammuz. Who Yom Holedes Begulato. This is the day that the previous Rebbe was born and the day that he got out. And one of the things that we can learn from this story of the scouts is Lo L'Shanot Muma. Don't change things around, even the order and what the Rebbe says. If Moses and Moses of our generation said the Rebbe is the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, if the Rebbe said Kibashina Katzat said something, you have to do exactly what it said, because if you change things around in the order, it could be such a big mistake and make the same mistake as the Meraglim did, as the scouts did. The Adrab, and exactly the opposite. Im Meraglim, Shahoyu Nisiyei Eda, these Meraglim, these scouts that Moses sent out, they were the heads of the Jewish people. They were the ones that were always called, they were the ones that were the big leaders. Anshe Shem, famous. If they made a mistake because they changed the order of things, how much more so by us? If so, what's the Rebbe trying to say? That now is the time we have to do everything we can to bring Moshiach. And don't say that first of all, I'll learn, and then I'll do commandments, and then I'll think about Moshiach. Moshiach is the last thing. So the Rebbe, no. The order is exactly the opposite. Don't change the order. Don't say after everybody does tshuva, after you have to go now and talk about Mashiach, think about Mashiach, do everything you can to bring Mashiach now. That's the proper order. And don't make a reckoning about what people are going to say and what's going to happen to me. Our work is only one, to fix up the whole entire world. And the only way that can be done is by the Jewish people. And the only one that can wake up the Jewish people is the Mashiach. And we have to do everything to facilitate it, especially meaning learning Chassidut, the teachings of Chabad. So come every morning, 8:15, and learn with us. Okay, now we're going to have a story.